So before we move forward in time, let's move backward in time a little bit and cover some things I missed the first time around, some interesting tidbits. First of all, that initial series of 6 figures, Billy Blazes, Jackhammer, Gil Gripper, Rocky Canyon, Cliffhanger, and Jake Justice. What was unique about them? Unlike the figures that would follow for the next 10 years, except for a few specialty figures, these were the only ones that had swiveling waists. Yes, all the others had the same joints except they had a locked waist. Another interesting thing was that a lot of these original figures were re-released. They were reproduced and released again, but there were slight differences that you might not notice at first glance to tell a true original from the redone versions. Besides some slight color variations, another difference was the hands. In the originals, the hands were closed, their thumbs were connected to their fingers, and the gloves were also much more smooth and simple. But in the later versions, the hands were slightly open, and the gloves a bit more complex. They also had what seemed to be safety adjustments. For instance, the antennas on their walkie-talkies on their head, that was significantly shortened, I guess, so kids wouldn't poke their eye out with the antenna. And a significant change was Rocky Canyon's grappling hook. In the original version, it was a true hook that could actually grab onto things when you shot it, and it had a lengthy string, which worked great. But then the newer version, the hook was stunted seriously, so it couldn't really grab onto anything, and the string was significantly shortened. So, not much fun. So it was done for safety reasons, I guess, but not much fun to play with, not much actual function. And going back to the hands again, Wendy Waters was kind of an oddball. Her right hand was standard sized, but her left hand was closed smaller. It couldn't fit the typical handles of the equipment packs. But on the Rescue Heroes helicopter, on that thing on the back where you could hang on, they did make the handlebars smaller so that she could hold on to both instead of just with one hand, and it would be a little bit looser with the men. So I'm not sure why they did that, but she was the only one like that, to have that one smaller hand. Another thing to note was the first computer video game, Hurricane Havoc. All this time, I had not known that it was tweaked and re-released. This was pointed out to me by YouTube user Master Farr, who was also a Rescue Heroes fan, and he pointed me in the direction of eBay to actually buy it. So I did, and recorded that gameplay for the differences, and I'll actually provide links to that in the description below. Now, Rip Rockefeller, in his initial version on the Body Force team, he used the head sculpt from his previous original version. However, this same figure was later re-released with a head sculpt that was from the TV show. When he was introduced in Season 2, he had a chin beard. Also in Season 2, towards the end, was introduced the robots, Rivet, and at the very beginning, very briefly, was another robot, a firefighting robot named Robbie Ott. And he was being remote controlled by Rocky Canyon in the training field. But does that mean he was never released? No, because later on the Robo team came the firefighting robot named Backdraft. And Backdraft looks identical pretty much to the features of Robbie Ott. He has the water cannon, the axe that comes out of his arm. I'm convinced that's the same one, and they decided to rename him. And let's be honest, that is a much better name, Robbie Ott. I found kind of silly. It's not very specific. And also a note regarding Mako the shark. I mentioned in the documentary how during that whole initial run, there was only 3 women on the team: Wendy Waters, aerial flyer, and marine biologist. And that last one came with a shark named Mako, and the packaging referred to that shark as her great white girlfriend, which implies it's a female shark. So that's really the only confirmed female animal. However, later packaging of other versions referred to Mako as a he, probably just out of ignorance, obviously, but it's safe to assume Mako was originally intended to be a female.